Hey guys, what's up? Hitmarthrower here, and welcome back to Mario Superstar Baseball. It is finally, thankfully, mercifully, the finale video, but more importantly, it's spring break. Dear God, you have no idea how badly I needed this break. This is the 13th, so this is Monday I'm recording this. My last class was Friday, and it was done at 10:30. The only things that I have done since that point have been eating, the occasional errand, playing Breath of the Wild, and sleeping. Mostly sleeping. I think I've been awake... Between being awake and not playing the Switch, I've probably been doing that for maybe like... 7's too much, 6 is too much. Like 4 to 5 hours total. Every other time has been spent either playing Breath of the Wild or, unsurprisingly, asleep. I needed the rest. You have no idea how bad it was. Regardless, last episode, I believe I'm taking a guess, because this is being post-commentated, that we took on Peach's team, and in this episode, since it is the finale video, we've got one team left. Time to take out Mario and company. And then head to Bowser himself, of course. So, I'm gonna not talk about Switch or Breath of... Well, I'll talk about the Switch a little bit, but mostly I will refrain from talking about Breath of the Wild too much, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who has not gotten the chance to play it. And if you were like me and trying to stay spoiler-free the entire time you're waiting for it, I can completely understand that. So I will give the very basics of how far I am. About 80 shrines in, done 3 of the 4 dungeons, so I have 1 left. That I know of, there might be more, don't spoil it for me. Enjoying the game a lot. The only problem I've seen with it is if there's a lot going on, so one of the examples was there was a lot of motion because there was a lot of grass and it's, calculating each one. Was fighting enemies, it was raining, and I was running around all at the same time, and it slowed down a little bit, but it's not too bad. So if you're looking into getting the Switch, but you are either saving your money or waiting for a price drop, or both, I mean, that's perfectly reasonable too, it is a very good game to get, but I can understand if you want to wait. If you're big on multiplayer, not single player, then I definitely understand why you'd want to wait. Thanks to PBG's channel, Peanut Butter Gamer, and his collab channel with Jeff, PBG Gameplay, I've seen play of snipper clips, which looks like it would be fun, but I can't say it would match Breath of the Wild. And I've also seen the 1-2 Switch, which, again, really can't match Breath of the Wild. So if you're looking for a good multiplayer game, I would wait for Mario Kart 8. That comes out next month, April. So you've got some time to work on saving up or waiting for the price to drop, either one. But it is a good system overall. I was expecting to have problems with it. I was expecting the controller to be too small for my hands, because my hands are pretty large. But it actually fits fine. It doesn't feel like it's too large, too small. If it does, you can get the Pro Controller for it. The only issue I would say is the power strip, the one that comes with it, is probably, I would wager, 2.5, 3 feet long. Not very long. Let's see, well, maybe a little bit longer than that, but not by much. You have to have it pretty close to your power strip, power outlet, so if you are worried about that, you need a pretty good extension, I would recommend buying the extension for it. They do have them, but just a fair warning about that. Battery's good, the portability of it's good. It took, if you haven't seen anything from it like I did, I actually had to look up a guide on how to set it up, because, there's a bunch of parts and they're all given to you where they are in parts, nothing's already hooked up. So it took a little bit of finessing, but once I figured it out, it was not that bad. Battery life on it lasts fine, so overall I would say it's a good purchase, and I'll keep it at that pretty much. I will tell the story about actually getting it, though, because it's more the story in getting it rather than actually, like, having it and playing it and whatnot. And because, why would we talk about the baseball game that's going on? I mean, Mario's a nobody. Nobody cares about Mario. Mario Odyssey's not even out yet, so who cares about him? No one liked him anyway. He's a weirdo. Still need to play Color Splash. Oh well. Either way. Well, that was the thing that happened. Yep. Where do I start with this? I should probably start at the ending, actually. The end result is I got mine off of eBay. I didn't actually bid on it. I did just the buy it now option because there were some people, unsurprisingly, and I don't blame them, that were pre-ordering multiple copies of the Switch and then, after they would get all the Switches in, they would just go and like distribute the ones other than the one they would keep for themselves to people that had bought it. So that's what I did. I spent about $50 more doing that. The reason being, most people watching this, because it's a Nintendo-heavy channel, are no doubt aware that whenever all the Switch pre-orders came in, a lot of places sold out of the pre-order almost immediately, and my area was no exception to that. So, from all the chaos that ensued from that, I lost my pre-order the first time. I got reimbursed, so I got my money back. Later on, that issue got resolved. More pre-orders were available, and I got mine at GameStop, the one near my house, because generally GameStop does have a bad rep, and that comes from both the customers and the people that have worked there will tell you that, but I have not had a problem with pre-orders. Long story short, from I don't know about the rest of my town, but at least the GameStop I was at, me and about 10 other people lost their pre-order. So in my case, I lost it a second time. Got reimbursed for it. Now, the pre-order for Breath of the Wild was not as bad. In fact, they were still selling copies of it during the midnight release. So, the pre-order for that was fine. It was just the Switch that I did not have. So I actually got the game before I got the Switch, because obviously since they both opened on the 3rd, I got mine in, because the 3rd would have been Friday, right? Actually, that's right. I got mine in Monday, so I got it in on the 6th, so it was a couple days fast, but not too bad. Regardless, whenever I actually got there, because I went with a friend who had also pre-ordered the Switch and Breath of the Wild. Thankfully, he did not lose his copy of it. I don't know why it was mine. It just happened to be that. It could have been alphabetical, but I don't think it was. It might have just been people that did the second round of pre-order first, and that's probably what it was. Because I was in that second round, he was in the first round of it, so that might have been why. Either way, the one near my house did a midnight release on, Thursday/Friday. Okay, fine. So we show up at about 10:20, 10:30, about an hour and a half before it actually gets going. So we walk in, they ask, how can we help you? Just said, oh, we're just here for the midnight release. And they're like, oh, okay, that's fine, we're just kind of organizing stuff here. And so we talked with them for a little bit while, played Mario Kart 7 through Download Play, because I don't know Mario Kart 7. Which is actually pretty good. I did surprisingly well. I actually got first in a couple races on courses I've never played on 150 engine difficulty. So, I mean, that's not bad, actually, all things considered. And so eventually, they get pretty much everything sorted, figure out how they want to do it. Said, we're going to start the line right here, so you guys will be first in line. If we change, no, they didn't say that. You guys will be first in line. Whenever the line starts, we'll let whoever comes in know, like, these guys were here first, so, you have to let them through. Like, alright, fine. So, around 11:50, roughly? 11:55, somewhere, like, right before the release starts. The guys look at us and go, okay, you're gonna have to leave now. We're like, okay, is there any reason for that? And they're like, yeah, we gotta start the midnight release. We're like, yeah, we know, we're here for that. You guys, and then they just kind of looked at us and were like, yeah, you're gonna have to, like, go outside and go to the back of the line. And we're like, okay, is there a reason why? Because you told us the line was in here. And then they just kind of awkwardly looked at each other for a couple seconds and looked back at us, and they're like, no, we moved the line outside. And so I naturally responded, and you didn't think to tell us because? And they looked at each other again and went, well, we thought you were just staying in here because it's cold outside. And it was probably, I don't know, if it was, we're going to take a rough estimate, let's say it was like 70 inside GameStop, it was probably about 65, 64. So like 5-degree difference. Not that big a deal at all. Like, even by my standards, it wasn't cold outside, and I think anything below 60 was freezing because I live in Texas. So not even cold at all, like a blatant excuse of, oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you, even though we had been chatting with them here and there. So, long story short, we get booted to the back of the line. I know what you're thinking. It's like, okay, now you're just bitching for no reason, pardon the language. You're just bitching for no reason because it's a pre-order, of course you're going to get it regardless. But really, it's just like, we were there for an hour and a half. All you had to do was just tell us, hey, we decided to move the line to the outside. And if you're also thinking, well, how come you didn't see the line or didn't hear the line? We didn't see the line because it's a midnight release, and it was, it's still kind of winter, at least around here. So at midnight, it is pitch black. Like, you cannot see anything, and there's plenty of lighting whenever you're looking towards GameStop, looking outside from the window, whenever it's like that, you can't see anything. It's completely black. So couldn't see anything. The reason we couldn't hear anything is because there was like a few people actually near the windows, but most of them were grouped together pretty far back, and so we didn't ever hear them at any point. The door was never opened or closed by the staff or anybody else asking about, you know, the midnight release and whatnot. So, never saw them, never heard them. Like, there was no indication that they were there at all. So, long story short, it was incredibly stupid. And if you're thinking, well, you should have just expected that because, you know, of course there are going to be people lining up. Midnight releases, while they do happen in our town, almost no one shows up for them. Like, even on, I guess that would have been Thursday night, so most people probably would have had class Friday. Because, like I mentioned, it's spring break now. This was, like, 2 weeks ago at this point. So, you know, most people still have classes. So, anybody that's pretty young, if they can't drive, they're probably not able to get there. If they can drive, they might not anyway, because they might have to get to school in, you know, 8 hours, 7 hours. And if you're like me and my friend, my friend in my case, you know that if you plug that in and start playing, you're going to be up the rest of the night. So he didn't end up playing it that night, he waited until the next day, which was completely understandable. But it was basically a massive hassle that should not have been. All they had to do was just communicate, which, you know, it was stupid is basically what it is. And that's not even really so much a knock at GameStop as it is the staff themselves, because all they had to do was tell us, by the way, we're moving the line outside, and we would have been like, oh, okay, fine. Like, you didn't even have to tell us we need to go to... Like, you didn't even have to keep us in the front. All you had to do was just tell us, like, at some point, whenever you decided to move the line outside, just say, hey, we're moving the line outside. It's like, alright, fine. So, we ended up having to wait a little bit longer than what we should have. It was very stupid, basically. Not too thrilled with their ability to communicate. But either way, thankfully, things are back to normal. Parents are back from Mayo Clinic, in case anyone was curious. I know that sounds weird for a 22-year-old to still be living with his folks, but my mom's not in that great of health, and to be honest, my dad's a really bad caretaker. Like, you have no idea, he's a really bad caretaker. To put it in perspective, they went up there because my mom, and we'll keep it short because I've said it a million times already, my mom has a chronic illness. It's called Crohn's disease. Basically what happens is the body thinks that there's something going on in the intestines, there's an infection or something, it sends antibodies to fight it. There's no infection there, the body just thinks there is, the antibody's already out and they have to attack something, so they basically attack the intestine itself, causes, you know, a bunch of lacerations, cuts, and it's very nasty. Like, don't look up pictures if you have a weak stomach or you're eating. Do not do it, it's pretty bad. And so, it had gotten to the point where she was not able to eat anything. Any food that she ate would cause her immense pain, and she could not process it to literally the point, and this again, if you're eating, I recommend not listening to this. She could eat something, and then whenever it went through her digestive tract, it would come out exactly the same. Like, it was not processing anything. I know that's gross, but, like, that also goes to show how bad her digestive system was. So, she went, and they ended up doing surgery, and she's recovered from that, but the only reason that they got in was not because of her Crohn's, it was because my dad had the flu, and I'd been keeping him away from my mom, like, the entire week before. And in the 2 days it took to get them there, he managed to give her the flu by being, like, super needy and clingy, because he's a guy, and for any girls out there, for a lot of guys, yes, the stereotype's true, that if girls get sick, they'll power through it, if guys get sick, they act like they're dying. In my dad's case, he fits that stereotype quite well. So, I will actually power through it. He did not. He was super clingy, got her the flu, and that was the reason she got admitted, just because she had 103 fever. And then they actually, you know, like, took care of what they needed to, so. She's fine, she's recuperating. The incision actually looks a lot better than it did the last time she had surgery, because she did have a surgery at the end of 2015. So, you know, like, within roughly a year of each other, she's had 2 surgeries. But this one looks a lot better. Obviously, it's masked up with surgical tape. They said just let the tape fall off on its own, and probably about 70% of it's gone, so, I mean, it looks like it's healing much better, and she's taking it much easier this time. She's no longer babysitting my cousin, which, thank goodness, because you have no idea how clean my aunt has been. She doesn't understand the concept of, like, at some point you need to leave. If you've ever had that one friend that you invited over, and you're like, yeah, you know, I've got to do something at like 5, and they just keep hanging around until the last possible second, you basically have to kick them out. Like, tell them I'm kicking you out before they leave. That's what my aunt is. The only difference is, like, she's 45 instead of, you know, 12. Sometimes I wonder. Believe me, I'm not the only person wondering that. There's a lot of people that wonder that. But yeah, she is not babysitting anymore, thankfully. So, hopefully that will keep her in better apps. She still can't get out yet, but that might change this week. She's going to try to shoot for Friday if she feels well enough, and by then I think she's got a pretty good chance at feeling better. So, if you're wondering about the whole intestine thing, I mean, the body has a pretty good amount of intestine in it. She's not in a dangerous area to where she's running low yet. If they have to do a third surgery, maybe, but right now, no. And as for transplants, I've asked about that. That doesn't work for two reasons. One, there's never been a successful transplant. Two, I mean, it could technically buy time, but the disease she has is on a cellular level. It's genetic, so if the transplant was successful, it would just start attacking the new intestine, basically. It's complicated. It's a Facebook status. It's complicated. And that's the large and short of it. This week, I'm obviously doing the commentary for these. Maybe I'll try to record more. Nice job, Waria. That was beautiful. Try to record the commentary for these. I need to... What I'm going to try to do, basically, because this class is set up this way, is if I can manage to do it and tear myself away from Breath of the Wild, which, let's be honest, the only way that's going to happen is if I get all the shrines, get all the heart containers, stamina vessels, and I beat the game. Sorry, that's likely what will happen, is when I can finally beat the game, I will tear myself away from it. But ideally, this one class that's just been giving me crap the entire time, if all goes well, I can get all the books read for it, and basically just do all the homework. So the only thing I'll have left is just like little small things she would assign in class. So basically I'm going to try to take a week to finish the rest of the semester for this class, because it's getting really out of hand. Like, I have to order another book because we're running out of books and she wants to add more. And keep in mind, this is the course that had 13 books. I have 18 total and only 4 classes. So between the other 3 I have 5 books, which is understandable because one of them is made in a Volume A and Volume B, which is fine. The other one it's also, like, all of my classes except one are English classes, so 2 books is not that big a deal. 12's kind of a big deal. It's a little ridiculous, so I've got to read Frankenstein, I know why the caged bird sings, one other book, I need to order that other book and read it, and then get a folder organized. And at that point, I should be okay. It's going to be a lot of reading, basically, is what I'm saying. But if I can get it done, that would take a massive weight off of my shoulders for working for that class. Because it started getting out of hand, and it still is out of hand. And I don't mean for me personally, I mean in general. Like, it feels like it's a graduate school class, which is kind of weird because she keeps talking about for people that are going to go into graduate school after they're done with their undergrad. Nobody in our class is. I know, because I asked after we left. I was like, is anybody actually planning on going to graduate school? Everyone said no, and they're very sure. So I don't know who she's referring to in our group. Apparently no one, but either way. 10-0. Mario's probably feeling the heat right now, or the Pianta is, I guess, since he's the one pitching. That should make it 11. Ladies and gentlemen, we might be seeing a mercy rule here, and judging by the fact that past me just decided to run straight into the ball, I've pretty much decided that I can get him on a mercy rule unless he gets 2 runs in the bottom of the second. So yeah, if I can get that done, I'll need to do some testing, but not for this class. I have to do it for general education tests, just stuff you have to do for education majors. Need to get that done, need to get my content exam done, but I'll probably do that during the summer when I'm not as busy. But if I can get all of that done, then I'm pretty much okay for the rest of the semester, which is weird to think about because the finals are in May, and this is like halfway through March, so there's still like a month and a half to go. It'd be weird to think I was already done. It'd be nice though. It's weird to see. Normally, you'd expect like finals time, that's when the well, not really the pressure. I guess it could be the pressure, not for me, but that's when the workload starts getting worse and worse. And it feels like for all my classes, with the exception of this one still feels bad. They're getting a lot less, actually. It's getting a lot easier. Maybe that's just me getting back into the swing of things, but who knows, really. And then the summer I'm going to try to take Cal 2 if it's offered. If not, I'll have to take it with Methods. Methods is only like a semester or two, and by this time next year I'll be about to graduate and wondering what the hell where the hell I'm gonna move and whatnot. Though, to be honest, figuring out where I'm gonna live is probably gonna be like one of the big things I'm doing this summer, is figure out, am I gonna stay here, gonna go somewhere else? Because as a math teacher, you can pretty much go anywhere in the United States, because they kind of need math teachers everywhere. So it won't be for, you know, lack of, like, not being able to find anyone that actually needs a math teacher in my area. I can go wherever. So anyway, back to the baseball game that I've not been paying attention to at all. Bought the buddy badge for the final battle. As you can see, everything is bought here except for these two objects right here, and that very last one. You can probably guess what those two go to. The last one might be a mystery. I guess you'll find out. For now, though, took the buddy badge with me. Mario was beaten in Mercy Rule, so everybody on his team is now recruited to mine. So with that being said, save our game. And I'm actually going to leave this in because this was really funny. This is the finale video for Donkey Kong's story. There is more to go because I am going to show off Bowser's, of course. But I was debating right here whether or not to, like, keep going or stop. Because at this point, because I hadn't lost the audio, I was like, I don't know, like, this isn't going up on a weekend. At this point, it technically isn't going up on a weekend, but it's also going up during my spring break, and I'm pretty sure most people have their spring break either this week or next, so that's what I ended up deciding to keep it here for. And honestly, the Bowser game really wasn't that bad, so either way, hopefully everybody is enjoying their spring break. If you've already had it, hopefully you did enjoy it, and if you have not had it yet, then I hope that you will come to enjoy it. And if you're watching it in the future, well, hope you enjoy spring break whenever it rolls around, unless you're an adult and you don't, and you still have to work through it. One upside to being a teacher is I technically get spring break off. I get it off from teaching, but unfortunately, teaching's kind of the fun part. At least for education majors, that's like the big deal. Like, if the teaching's not enjoyable to you, then what are you doing here? No, from what I've heard from all the teachers, because I have asked around, asking, like, for them, what's the worst part? Most people will say grading, which I completely understand that. Like, doing the lesson plan, I don't know how doing the lesson plans would go. I feel like, I don't know. Doing lesson plans means you have to have very good time management. You have to be aware of how fast or slow things are going to go and adjust accordingly in the middle of class. You kind of have to be a little bit adaptable. Then you got things like fire drills and, you know, unexpected emergencies, what have you. There's a bunch of things you have to account for, but that's just getting into my major that no one probably cares about. Maybe at some point I'd do a video on that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be more like an FAQ/Q&A type of thing, but at some point I will actually get my streaming stuff set up. At some point, I would love to be able to record stuff for the Wii U and for the Switch, but I need to find all the stuff from my Elgato, and I need to replace the USBs on my computer because most of them have gone bad, so I need to figure out exactly how to do that. I'm sure there is a way, but I need to figure it out. So that will probably be a summer project as well, is figuring out how to fix USBs on my computer. I mean, I have messed with my computer a little bit. You guys already know I replaced the fan, and granted, replacing a fan is not that hard, but still need to figure out how to do it correctly so I can actually have more USBs, because, like, that's the reason I was having problems with the Elgato the first time was because it couldn't recognize the driver, because of USB. Because it was the USB driver that was having the problems, it wasn't the actual software itself. Alright, I would have thought that was in, but whatever. Scored, so really that's all that matters. Alright, Wario, scratch that button, let's send this over the fence. Close enough. Solid single. Wow, it's already 6 o'clock in the morning, good gosh. You can tell my sleep schedule's way off, but, like, I slept for almost a full day after classes in the morning. I was done at 10:30, and I went to bed and woke up at, like, 4 the next morning. Needless to say, I was a little exhausted. I mean, like, that's almost levels of unhealthy. Granted, like, working on that much reading and writing was unhealthy, but still. Mostly the reading. I'm not even that slow of a reader, to be perfectly honest. The upside is, for Frankenstein and Why the Caged Bird Sings, at least those books are small. Everybody seems to think Frankenstein is like this really huge book. It's not that long. I could grab it somewhere in this pile of books, but I want to say it's like... You know what? I will pick it up. As soon as I set my Coke down, which is terrible for your auto-recording. I'm going to guess 176 pages. Let's find out if we're right or wrong. Granted, this will depend on the size of the book itself. I might actually be off. This is a fairly thick book. Oh, a lot of this is, like, not actually the thing. These are all like, analysis. I was about to say, this is, like, 400 pages, but no. Let's just check the table of contents. Good grief. Frankenstein itself starts on page 7. The contexts, so like other stuff people have written about it, start on page 165. Overall, it's 523 pages, but of that 523, well, let's see here, 165 minus 123, or 165. 523 minus 165, and the rest of it's actually Frankenstein, so it's 7 to 165, so it's 152 pages. I was gonna guess 150. I should have guessed 150. Gosh dang it. That would have actually been a pretty good guess. And that's over the fence. Because the Womps came down too early. And it actually kind of did squeeze through there, but mostly the Womps came down too early. So yeah, that's only 150. I would be willing to bet. I know The Caged Bird Sings is probably equal to or less than that by a bit. So thankfully what I'm reading is not as long. That one that I have to go and actually get, though, that one's pretty large. So at the very least, I would like to get those two books read and the folder organized. Because the folder, we're supposed to have done the folder like week 2, and she does do a folder check at the end of the semester, but because it's only the end of the semester, I've not done it. Mostly because A, I didn't have the dividers at the time, and B, the folder does not fit my backpack. It's about a quarter of an inch too long, and that's a pretty bad excuse, but I'm one of those few people that organization doesn't work well for me. Not that I can't organize, but it's easier for me to find things when they're all over the place and chaotic and, you know, like, there's no pattern to them, as opposed to when there actually is. If something is in, like, an alphabetical order, I know the alphabet, but I will probably go by it like once or twice before I actually grab it. If it's just in a set order, because people say it's chaotic, but like if you think about it, it is logical. Like for example, my stack of video games. If I know what I've played recently, I know there's a pretty good chance it's on the top or near the top. If it's something I've not played in a long while, I'm going to look towards the bottom. So like there is some rationale in it as opposed to just doing it alphabetically. It's also a bit of a difference that I, you know, stack mine vertically instead of horizontally because of how my bookshelf is, because I've got, on one shelf, I've got all my stuff for 360, Wii U, DS, 3DS, GameCube, and, let's see, yeah, DS, 3DS, Wii U, 360, and GameCube, so 5 different systems there. My headboard's got an area that's got all my GBA stuff. Which, granted, I could probably move my DS stuff to there, but I'm talking about the actual boxes for them. Because I'm one of those weirdos that actually puts things in the box and, you know, keeps it there because it's a little bit, I'm not gonna say safer, it's less likely to get scratched, you know. That, I will admit, the Switch with the cartridges, I love the fact that they went back to cartridges. Cartridges are much harder to mess up than they are, CDs. CDs are very easy to scratch by comparison. The cartridges are friggin' tiny, too. It's like the size of an SD card on a camera. If you've ever seen one of those, it's about that size. And if you're wondering what's up with, like, people licking the cartridges, because, yes, I have seen that, the reason why is they're a swallow hazard for children, and so they put some kind of material on it that's supposed to taste really bad, so if a child puts it in their mouth, they'll spit it back out. That's why you have adults licking it, because adults are immature. I can say that because I am an adult, and adults are it's just as, if not more, immature than teenagers at times. So if you were like me whenever you were a preteen or teenager wondering when the heck everyone's gonna grow up, the answer is never. They will not grow up. You just have to find the people that can actually buckle down and be serious when they're supposed to be. Which is apparently a rare commodity. No, there's a few out there. Not as many as I'd like, but there are a few out there. I've never noticed that button before. What is this? Oh, that must be the sensor. Looks like it. Sorry, I'm messing around with the Switch controller, which I shouldn't be doing. I got the gray one. That's not really a spoiler. I got the gray one as opposed to the neon one. I didn't like the colors for the neon. The blue looked off, and I don't know. I would have liked a dark blue and a dark red, but it looked sky blue, but not quite there. Like, not quite that pretty shade of sky blue. It looked a little bit off, and then the red, if I have to have it be a red, I want it to be a dark color, like the Hammer Bros shoe or the Fire Bros shoes right there. But no, it's kind of a light red, so it's like, no. I'll go with the gray one, and the gray one looks cool because gray's. I would say gray's in my top 5 color list. Did I say that? Purple, black, white, gray. Yeah, it'd be 4 or 5. So I'd say top 5. It'd be a toss up between blue and green. Probably green after that, and then blue, and then red. I like all the dark colors because I'm evil. That's why I'm a ghost, right? Because all ghosts are evil. All ghosts are evil. But Bowser's not evil. He's adorable. Look at him all over there. He's so cute. If you haven't, I know people probably don't want to get spoiled by the Switch, but if you, or like have spoilers from the Switch, but if you've not seen the commercial for the parental controls with Bowser and Bowser Jr. for the Switch, go and watch that after this. It's freaking hilarious. Bowser's being so adorable. He's like watching his son play Mario Kart, but like all, at the same time, his son would like look back and he's acting like he's not watching his son play Mario Kart. As I get up to turn off the light, it's one of the advantages to post-commentating. But he's like setting parental controls, and like I watched it without the audio, and so I was like, I'm not sure if he's setting parental controls because Bowser Jr. is playing too much, or if he's doing it because he wants a crack at the system. It was really funny. Apparently Bowser Jr.'s favorite Switch title is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, in case anyone was curious. That was the one he was playing the most. I have seen some of the new features for Deluxe. First of all, I am super stoked to see the Inklings represented for that, because I never played Splatoon myself, but I love the concept of it. Like, it's really cool. That's one of the few LPs from Chuggacon where I've watched start to finish. There's a battle stage, Urchin Underpass, I think is what it was. One of the battle maps for the first Splatoon. Like, I'm super pumped to see all that stuff get added. So, looking forward to the new content. Can't wait to see what it is. If it's good enough, I'll probably trade in the regular Mario Kart 8 before Deluxe comes out, but who knows, I never, hardly ever trade any of my games in. Rarely ever. Even though I'm pretty sure some of my old ones would sell for a fair amount. I mean, aside from Mario Party 10, I do own every Mario Party game. And yes, that does include Mario Party Advance. But I can guarantee you, like, all the N64 Mario Party, well, maybe not 2 because it's on Virtual Console, but Mario Party 1, Mario Party 3, all the GameCube ones, they'd probably sell for a decent amount. And I think I paid like $20 for Mario Party 5, not that much. I got it at a local place, but that was back when GameCube was still a thing. Like, you know, they were still saying, I got Luigi's Mansion new for $7 whenever Blockbuster was going out of business, so... which is totally worth it for buying. I think Luigi's Mansion 1's better than Dark Moon, but maybe I don't know if I'm alone on that one or not. I just like the style of it more. I don't like having, like, the same area and, like, some parts are accessible and some aren't. I just like having the one big area and it's just like you're just going from puzzle to puzzle. I don't know, I'm weird. Maybe we'll get a Mario Sunshine too, that'd be nice. Yeah, at this point I've definitely decided to just give it up. I'm pretty sure I knew I was going to win at that point. Part of me is thinking about getting Wind Waker HD. It's only $20 on the Wii U shop now, but, I mean, let's face it, I'm playing Breath of the Wild for quite some time. Because when I do 100%, I will probably have the ability to put it down. But that doesn't mean I'm just going to stop after one playthrough. We both know that's not true. So, you know what I really love too, though? Another Kirby Air Ride. Kirby Air Ride on the Switch needs to happen. How come there's never been a sequel to Kirby Air Ride? It's so good! Which is weird, because, like, the only Kirby games I played other than Air Ride have been Returns to Dreamland, which I do own, Nightmare in Dreamland, which I borrowed off a friend, and Squeak Squad, which I think I had... That was, like... I had met somebody on a plane that was like a huge gamer like I was, and so we were like trading games to let each other kind of demo them for a while. Because like, I don't know if it still happens anymore. Like, back in whenever I was like younger, I used to do that all the time. Like, if I saw somebody like in an airport, we were on the same flight or whatever, that was also a gamer, like, I don't know, gamers have like the stereotypes, but I would usually just approach them and be like, hey, what are you playing, you know. It was like one of the few times I would actually have any extrovert qualities whatsoever. But, you know, like, trade game, it was like kind of a way to demo the game, like play it yourself without actually owning it. It was borrowing it for like an hour or something. See what you think of it. And now we jump in joy! Because it's spring break, praise the Lord. I'm finally awake for once. Donkey Kong is apparently going for 100-man melee on Smash Melee. He's ready to unlock Falco. And he's probably going to eat that trophy because it's yellow and it looks like a banana. I think it was yellow. I mean, it probably is gold. Though the flower one wasn't, so... I think the picture of the trophy is somewhere on here, isn't it? I guess not. Well, that's mildly disappointing. Oh well, there you go. Everyone unlocked except, you know, Bowser team because you can't unlock them. So that is it for Donkey Kong's mission. How about that? Can I use Dixie Kong? She is your unlockable character for being the story mode with Donkey Kong on any difficulty. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, everybody on Exhibition has been unlocked except one single character. You could, of course, check Exhibition to see who that is, but I'll leave it non-spoiler for now, even though this game's like 14 years old. Good gosh, is it 14 years old? Oh man, that makes me feel old. Oh well, I'm 22. What are you gonna do? So, with that being said, next time we are going to be taking on, and I decided to do this on Star difficulty. Oh, well, there they are. Yeah, flower and star aren't completely gold. I guess the star on it is, but not completely yellow, so there was some truth in that. In the next episode, we will be taking on, well, we won't be taking on, we'll be playing as Team Bowser. Now, since Bowser and his minions are not recruitable because of the final battle, this is going to switch up how the game's played, so I would highly recommend looking forward to that. It's actually pretty cool what they do. And besides, everyone loves Bowser and he's a power character. Can't wait to see him smash him out of the park. Later.